Hi everybody, Sean from Media Assault here, and once again I'm back to bring you a review of a movie that I think you should see and that I think you'd enjoy. And this one's from 1987, and it is a movie called The Monster Squad. And this is a movie that was released, like I said, in 1987. It was released with very little fanfare. It got a very dismal box office reception. But over the years since then, it's sort of gained a cult following. And about 3 years ago, it was released in a 20th anniversary 2 DVD set and also on Blu-ray relatively recently. And it's a movie that I think that you'd enjoy. Basically, the plot it's kind of juvenile, but the plot revolves around the balance of good and evil. And every 100 years, the balance of good and evil becomes equal. And the balance can be tipped if this amulet is destroyed. The amulet is basically concentrated good. If that amulet is destroyed, then the balance of power will forever tip in favor of evil. And so Dracula tries to possess this amulet. 100 years ago, Dr. Van Helsing tried to defeat Dracula and gain possession of the amulet. He failed in defeating Dracula, but Dracula did not possess the amulet. So we flash forward to present day, or the present day of 1987, and there is a group of kids who have this club called the Monster Club, or the Monster Squad. And they believe that monsters are real. Little do they know that the amulet that Dracula is seeking is hidden somewhere in their town. And the 100-year anniversary of that battle between Dr. Van Helsing and Dracula is rapidly approaching. And once again, there is that opportunity for the balance of power to shift in favor of evil if that amulet can be destroyed. So Dracula and his pals, who are the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein's monster, and the Wolfman, all sort of converge on this little town, and I don't think they ever say where this town is. It looks like a typical Midwestern type town. But all of these monsters are converging on this town to find this amulet and destroy it at midnight on the 100th anniversary of the last battle between good and evil. And the kids, of course, no one will believe the kids. They know what's happening because they know monsters better than anybody, because they've still got that youthful belief in the unexplained and the unexpected and whatnot. It's sort of like the Goonies meet Frankenstein, and I say that basically to give people who haven't seen this movie something to compare it to, because I like this movie a lot more than I like the Goonies. The Goonies is more fantasy related, and the villains are kind of campy and goofy. And in this movie, the kids are depicted as being in real danger. And the villains, particularly Dracula, well, all of them, except Frankenstein's monster, are portrayed as no holds barred. They will kill you if you get in their way. And there are a lot of deaths in this film. The body count is amazingly high for what could be considered a kid's film. I really don't think that anyone intended this to be a kid's movie per se. It is rated PG-13 because there's a fairly decent amount of gore in it. It's not really scary. It would appeal to kids, but I don't think it was intended to be a movie strictly for kids like The Goonies was. That said, it was directed by Fred Dekker, who did Night of the Creeps, and it was co-written by Dekker and Shane Black, who did the Lethal Weapon series, and is also an actor. He's appeared in movies like Predator. And the dialogue in this movie is hilarious. There's a lot of back and forth between some of the characters. Most notably, there's a character named Dell who is a policeman, and he's the father of Sean, one of the kids in the Monster Squad, and he and his partner go back and forth a number of times, and I actually just literally laughed out loud. It's funny as hell. So the dialogue is snappy in this film. The special effects are pretty good, and when they're cheesy, I think they're done intentionally so, as kind of a tribute to the old Universal horror movies, which were made in the 1940s, which obviously didn't have the greatest technology back then. And I think even though these movies were made in the 80s, technology had advanced quite a bit between the 40s and the 80s, and they were capable of doing better effects than are in this movie. And I think they did it kind of as a tribute to the way things were done in the 40s. Of course, there is no CGI in this film, which is a good thing. The makeup effects, which were done by Stan Winston, are really, really good. The monsters in the movie are meant to be representations of the Universal Studios classic horror monsters. You know, Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, all from the stable of monsters from Universal Horror in the 40s and 50s. But I don't think they were done so with the legal representation required to actually be those characters. So Dracula's in the public domain, so we've got Dracula covered. Frankenstein's monster is really close to the Boris Karloff makeup, about as close as they could get without getting sued. The Mummy, well, mummies are, mummies. But the creature from the Black Lagoon is never referred to as the creature from the Black Lagoon. He's only referred to as the creature. And the appearance has been changed. Actually looks really good. It kind of looks like a cross between the original creature from the Black Lagoon and the Predator creatures. Ironically, Predator was released the same year as the Monster Squad. So if you're looking for some light entertainment and you like horror films and you're looking for something that's not going to be real deep or real challenging, the Monster Squad is an excellent film. And you can find this really, really cheap. Probably, I picked this up for like $8 at Target, and it is a 2-disc set. You can see this has the feature on it, and this has quite a few special features. There's a extensive commentary on it from Fred Dekker and some of the cast members. There is a 5-part retrospective featuring new interviews with Fred Dekker and the cast. There's a never-before-seen classic interview with Frankenstein's monster, deleted scenes, the original theatrical trailer, and it's all been remastered. It's in anamorphic 16:9. Excellent value, excellent movie. I highly recommend you pick up Monster Squad on DVD or Blu-ray if you've got the technology for that. I would give the Monster Squad an 8 out of 10. I think it's really worth watching, and it's definitely a gem from the 80s. That said, be prepared for some terrible music courtesy of Michael Sembello, who later brought us the classic Maniac from Flashdance. He's featured prominently on the soundtrack of the Monster Squad. So bear with that and enjoy the Monster Squad. And stay tuned here on YouTube, specifically the Media Assault channel, for more movie reviews, video game reviews, and music reviews coming up really soon. And subscribe. Rest in peace.